When you hear the word Babylon, what do you think of? You know, the Hanging Gardens, the Tower of Babel? For a lot of us, it sounds more like a legend than a real place. But today, we're going to peel back those layers of myth and take a look at the actual, historical supercity that shaped our world in ways you might not even realize. So let's dive in. Just take a look at this. This is not some fantasy painting. It's a reconstruction of a real place, a massive, bustling city built on both sides of the Euphrates River. This was a true center of power, of culture, of incredible innovation. And as we're about to see, the reality of Babylon is honestly even more fascinating than the legends. Okay, so to really get a grip on Babylon, we've got to go back. Way back. Where exactly did this powerhouse of a civilization come from, and when did it all happen? Well, Babylon didn't just pop up overnight. Around 2300 BC, it was just a small Akkadian town. Nothing special. But then things started to kick off. In the 19th century BC, its first dynasty rose to power, and it became an independent city-state. And from there, it just exploded. By the 16th to 18th centuries BC, it had become the massive capital of the entire Babylonian Empire. A city, of course, is all about its people. So how was their society put together? Well, it was a very organized and pretty rigid social pyramid. Let's meet the people who actually called this incredible city home. Basically, Babylonian society was split into three main groups. Right at the top, you had the nobles, the powerful elite with all the rights and privileges. Then you had the biggest group by far, the free commoners. This was everybody else, really, from the priests and officials to the farmers and craftsmen who kept the city running. And at the very bottom, you had the slaves, who were seen as property and had very few rights. For most people, where you were born was where you stayed. But even within that massive free commoners class, there was a really important split. You had the Awilus. These were your upper-class folks like officials, priests, and rich landowners. And then you had the Mushkenus, the everyday working class, people like clerks, farmers, and artisans. This wasn't just a small difference. It determined your legal standing, your social power, pretty much every part of your daily life. Now, for those at the very bottom, life was, of course, incredibly harsh. Slaves had few protections under the law, but, and this is important, it wasn't always a life sentence. A slave could actually save up and buy their own freedom. They could also become free by marrying a free person. So there was at least a glimmer of hope in what was otherwise a really rigid system. So you might be thinking, how does such a structured society become this incredible powerhouse? Well, the answer is their amazing ingenuity. That very organization, with everyone having a specific role, actually created the stability they needed to innovate like crazy. Let's look at what was powering this incredible empire. Let's start with just one number, 60. Why 60? Well, the Babylonians used a base 60 system for their math, and it was pure genius. See, the number 60 can be divided by so many other numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10, 12, you get the idea. This made calculations for things like trade, astronomy, and building stuff way, way easier. It's literally the reason you have 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in an hour. And their brilliance didn't stop there, not by a long shot. They created incredibly advanced maps to manage their empire. They built a massive international trade network. Their astronomers gave us the 7-day week and the 12-hour day. They even made huge leaps in fields like cosmetics, perfume, and medicine. I mean, these guys were innovators in every sense of the word. I mean, really think about that for a second. The 7-day week you just lived through, the clock on your wall, those fundamental concepts come directly from Babylonian astronomy. Thousands of years later, their careful watch of the stars is still organizing our lives. That is a truly staggering legacy. Okay, so we've looked at the massive scale of the empire, its society, its amazing inventions. Now, let's zoom all the way in. Let's go to the most personal level, inside a Babylonian home. What was life actually like for an average person behind closed doors? All right, welcome to a typical Babylonian house. Most were single-story buildings made from what they had the most of, mud bricks. But the design was brilliant. See, the whole house faced inwards. All the rooms were built around a central courtyard that was open to the sky. And there were no windows facing the street. This created a totally private, cool space, shielded from all the heat, dust, and noise of the busy city outside. But here's one detail about home life that might surprise you. They had a very different relationship with their dead. Family members who passed away weren't usually taken to a cemetery.
Nope. They were often buried right under the floor of the house. The living and the dead were literally sharing the same space.
So, we've walked through their society, their incredible innovations, and even their private homes. It all leads to this one last thought. The next time you check your watch, or look at a calendar, or even think about the laws that structure our own societies, just how much of ancient Babylon is still with us, hiding in plain sight. Its legacy is far from a myth. It's a living, breathing part of our world.